We have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Tamir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man that go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make sense.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay, miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
One of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations. America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Eric Malcolm.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love.
Nothing on that mean, though?
Monster on the beat, ho, Deeboed, any rap nigga, he a free throw. Man down, call her Amber Lambs, tell him breathe, bro. Nail a nigga to the cross, he walk around like Tizo. What's up with these jabroni ass niggas trying to see Compton? The industry can hate me, fuck them all and they mama. How many options you really got? I mean, it's too many options. I'm finna pass on this body, I'm John Stockton. Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up to score with him. Walk him down whole time, I know he got some hoe in him. Pole on him, extort shit, bully the flow on him. Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to cell block 1. To any bitch that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him. They tell me Chubb's the only one that get your hand-me-downs. And party at the party playing with his nose now. And Baka got a weird case, why is he around? Certified lover boys, certified pedophiles. Wop, 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 wop. That fuck him up. Wop, 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 wop. I'ma do my stuff. Why you trolling like a bitch, ain't you tired? Tryna strike a chord, and it's probably A minor. They not like us. 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 You think the Bay gon' let you disrespect Pop, nigga? I think that Oakland show gon' be your last stop, nigga. They cold foul, I don't know why you still pretending. What is the owl? Bird niggas and bird bitches, go. The audience not dumb, shape the stories how you want. Hey Drake, they're not slow. Rabbit hole is still deep, I can go further, I promise. Ain't there something P-Rest that's for bitchin'? You Malibu most wanted, ain't no love boy, you ball boy, fresh Gatorade or something. Since 2009, I had this bitch jumping. You niggas will get a wedgie, be flipped over your boxes, or over your foe. The other vaginal option, pussy. Nigga better straighten they posture. Got favorites all up in content. Might write this for the doctor. Tell a pop star quit hiding. Fuck a caption, won't action. No accident. I'm hands on. He fuck around, get polished. Fucked on Wayne Grow. He was in jail. That's conniving. Then get his face tatted like a bitch apologizing. I'm glad D-Rose came home. Y'all didn't deserve him neither. From Alondra down to Central. Nigga better not speak on Serena. And your homeboy needs subpoena. That predator moving flocks. That name gotta be registered and placed on neighborhood watch. I lean on you niggas like another line of walk. Yeah, it's all eyes on me and I'ma send it up the pot. Ay, put the wrong label on me. I'ma get them dropped. Ay, sweet chin music and I won't pass the ox. Ay, how many stocks do I really have in stock? Ay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. Ay, devil is a lie. Here's 69 God. Ay, freaky ass niggas need to stay their ass inside. Ay, roll their ass up like a fresh pack of Zod. Ay, city is back up. It's a must. We outside. Ay. They not like us. 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 Once upon a time, all of us was in chains. Homie still double down, calling us some slaves. Atlanta was the mecca, building railroads and trains. Bear with me for a second, let me put y'all on game.
All right, Diddy was doing the Diddy bop, honey, don't hate. All right. All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your nightly dose of vitamins. So let's get into it. Everyone, please get those likes up. Please get the likes up. Thank you in advance. All right, so let's talk about it. All right. Nessie X, Jeff ATL, Desmond. Shout out to my moderators putting in work. We got Reggie, Love, Zine, Zakeen. I hope I said that right. Nessa G, Bronze Flat Power God up in the house. Pearly. Tanya is here. Okay, Bronze Flat Power God. All right, let's get into it. Manny Rock. All right. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Y'all know I love me some Royals. My Aunt Egypt is up in here. DJ The Truth. Okay, let's get this party started. Did y'all like the intro? Did y'all like the intro? Now, you know what I thought was funny? What I thought was funny, Ray said the Queen makes it make sense. Thank you, beloved. Now, what I thought was interesting was that Diddy dressed up like a clown. Because you know that Diddy is supposedly afraid of clowns, and he did that video sometime. Hey, Melanin A1, Nessa G, Miss J in the house. He did that video shortly after this, I do believe. Let's go back to this old clip.
Story, I want to know. I heard you're scared of clowns.
No.
I heard that.
Impossible.
Why is it impossible?
Because I'm a black man.
You can be
I
scared.
have so many other things to be fearful of. A clown is not going to scare me.
Really?
Yes. I'm not afraid of clowns.
But I heard that you were.
I got you. Oh, you want to play?
That's why I had to move this. You sat it on top, and I'm like, I had to move that.
You know, I woke up this morning and I said I want my life to be full of surprises. Ellen, I thank you. Thank you.
That was hilarious to me. Okay. Oh, but I heard you were. And that's the exact clown that he dressed up like. Okay, pay attention. All right, so Diddy has taken yet another fade. Please pay attention. He just got Deeboed when Howard University rescinded the honorary doctorate degree that they gave him. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And I can't say that I didn't see it coming. I can't say that I did not see this coming. Please pay attention. Sean Diddy Combs has honorary Howard University degree revoked. $1 million donation returned after shocking abuse video. So they even gave back the money. Now, for those of you who remember, in 2022, he pledged to give them $1 million, which he did give them in 2023. Okay, just last year. So they gave back the cash. They want no parts of Diddy is all I'm saying. Howard University revoked Sean Diddy Combs' honorary degree on Friday and will return his $1 million donation amid the music mogul's mounting abuse accusations. I'm sure he needs that million right about now. Okay, I'm sure he needs it. Now, Howard's board of trustees unanimously voted to take back Combs' degree, which he was given by Washington, D.C.-based historically Black university in 2014. And they cut ties with the rapper, according to the school. Now, the board additionally agreed to return Combs' $1 million donation, to disband the scholarship program in his name, and terminate all gift agreements with Combs and the Sean Combs Foundation. This is actually sad as far as I'm concerned. This is actually sad because those scholarships were going to benefit students who needed it. Now, Mr. Combs' behavior, as captured in a recently released video, is so fundamentally incompatible with Howard University's core values and beliefs that he is deemed no longer worthy to hold the institution's highest honor. This is what a spokesperson said in a statement. Well, oh, so nefarious. Now let's go back to the day when he received that honor. And he gave a very heartfelt speech, and it was also very motivational. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go.
You cannot achieve success without failure. Some of my biggest successes come from some of my biggest failures. In the early 90s, when my friends were graduating from Howard, I got fired from that first job that I got with Andre Harrell. I know a lot of you know this story, but some of you may not know how scared I was. See, I was scared to death. I didn't have a degree. My girlfriend was 8.5 months pregnant with my first baby. I bought a brand new house in Scarsdale that I could not afford. So I found myself sitting alone in my bedroom and asking myself the question that sometimes we all ask each other. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? You should have kept your mouth shut and shut up and just did what Andre told you to do, but you wanted to act like you was making the hit rankings, and now look at you. What are you going to do now? So I had two choices. Either I was going to sit in that failure and give up, or I was going to make a decision to step out of the darkness. You see, when you're in that darkness, you want to sit there and wait for the light to come. When you're in that darkness, it feels uncomfortable, but you can't wait. and sit in that darkness. The only way out is to step forward, to face your fears, to become your own light. I had to make a decision. I had to decide to become my own light. I had to believe in myself like never before. I had to find my inner power.
Y'all heard that? Do you notice how Diddy is always talking about being in the darkness? I was in a dark place. I hit rock bottom. Then he said, when you get in the darkness and you have to find the light. I find it interesting because he also said the same thing at the 2022 BET Awards when he won that honor. Okay. The Lifetime Achievement Award. He talked about being in a dark place then too. He's always talking about being in dark places. Now hold on. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Now I'm going to share another video. Hold on. Let me pull this up real quick. Make sure this is the right one. Okay, we're not going to show that when they're playing some music, but hold on. Here we go. Now, this is from someone who's fed up with people getting these honorary degrees. All right. And she mentions Diddy, and this is before they rescinded it. This was like months ago, I think maybe even last year.
And while we're here, I would like for universities to stop doing this, only for y'all to have to revoke these things when some scandalous thing happens. Even though I highly doubt that Howard is going to revoke Diddy's honorary doctorate, I feel like it would have to be taken all the way to trial and he be convicted of a crime for them to consider revoking it. But even aside from that, a doctorate is crazy to me. For them to just be handing these out like Skittles, as if it doesn't take a lot of mental exertion, research, just academic rigor to be in a PhD program of any kind, it's crazy to me. This guy has received 72 honorary doctorate degrees. 62 have been revoked. I think universities will save themselves a lot of embarrassment if they stop doing this. And I get funding, bringing funding in and whatnot, but there's plenty of other ways to do that without giving them an honorary doctorate degree. And let's be real about the fact that a lot of these actors and musicians, whoever these people that get these honorary degrees, let's be honest about the fact that if they had not become successful in their field, they probably wouldn't have had the discipline or the drive to actually go to school and finish it to begin with. So, anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Well, you know, I think that they should probably stop that too. I don't know whose bright idea that was, okay? You should not have a degree unless you worked and earned it. That's just what it is. Okay, do you know how much hell I had to go through to get mine? I mean, please pay attention. Up late nights studying, even when I was sick and didn't feel good, still had to do it. I'm just saying. So with that all being said, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Now, Jaguar Wright has been released from jail for all the haters, for all the haters that thought y'all had Jag down. She's out. She's free. She's going to be doing an interview, so I hear, on the blue couch. And here's the thing. The guy gave an update earlier. And when he gave the update, my Aunt Egypt said, Queen Ahmadiyyah, she's a beautiful goddess. Thank you, beloved. Now, here's the thing. When he was given the update, somebody put in the chat, because he was saying that she's going to get out. This is prior to her getting out. And this person put in the chat something about, oh, as soon as I call Attorney General so-and-so, or no, as soon as I call DA so-and-so, she's not getting out. Like, why do y'all want to keep her in jail? What did she do to you? I just have several questions. Can anybody make it all make sense? And here's the thing. Listen. Now, remember this morning when we were having that conversation and, you know, people were saying these things that Jag did that were quite frankly nefarious, okay? That they were saying that she did these things. See, that wasn't my point. That wasn't my point. Here's what I want you all to remember. What I told you all on yesterday. What I told you all on yesterday, and what I've in fact told you a myriad of times. I always say that when it comes to a debate, and your feelings, emotions, and opinions, they don't matter. Mine don't matter. Yours don't matter. The only thing that matters are the facts. Now, the fact is that Jag has spoken the truth. All that other stuff about her beefing with people, I don't care about that. I don't care if it's true or not, because that has no bearing on me. You see, that is not going to stop me from believing in the truth that she has spoken. That's just how that works. What do I always tell you? That even a broken clock is right twice a day. So with that all being said, I look at the message. I don't have to, judge the messenger. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's how I roll. I don't care about the beefs with people. I have beefs with people. I have beefs with people. Other YouTubers, okay? I expose people. I do all kinds of things. So at the end of the day, but does that mean I'm not telling the truth? That was my whole thing. My thing this morning was not an assassination on her character, not to talk about her character, to simply talk about the fact that she was spreading the truth. And I feel like when people are spreading the truth, other people will try to silence them. I still have questions in my mind as to why they went through all of this about a U-Haul that wasn't returned. Why are y'all sending out Crime Stoppers and offering rewards? That all sounds sketchy. And let us not forget that she was arrested in Dallas, or she was arrested in Texas, right? Wasn't she arrested in Texas? And who has she been exposing that's from Texas? I have questions. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, so with that all being said, shout out to Jag for getting out. At the end of the day, she didn't do anything dirty and low down to me. So whatever beef she had with other people is not my concern. That's all I'm saying. Now I'm going to go to this latest update. This was hours ago, honey. I was working on some other stuff at the time. Deborah said, exactly, Queen, speak the truth. Thank you, beloved. I'm just saying, because here's the thing. This is what I always tell people on my spiritual channel, okay? All of us fall short of the glory of God. None of us are perfect, and none of us are without sin. I've done dirt because I'm petty. I'm a Pisces. I've done dirt. Many of you have done dirt. Who hasn't? Many of us have said things that we shouldn't have said, that we regretted later, and sometimes we didn't give a darn later. But nonetheless, we've done and said things. So I try not to judge people, based off of personal things that's going on or whatever. I just look at the facts of what the situation is. Because if I'm talking about her speaking the truth, all the stuff outside the realm of that really is irrelevant at that point. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not really, it doesn't factor in. So if we say that all that stuff that she did, okay, that's fine. Maybe she did it, maybe she didn't. But that doesn't mean that the stuff she said was not true. And here's the thing. Even if that information was already out for years and she regurgitated it, that still doesn't mean that it's not true. That still doesn't mean that's not true. So I think that she did wake up a lot of people to what the nefarious things that go on in the industry, because a lot of people didn't know these things. Okay? A lot of people didn't know these things. So D-Nice said, exactly. I trust a crackhead telling truth than a common person. Byron said, not I, Queen. I'm sinless. Just joking. Byron, if you don't sit down somewhere talking about your sinless. Okay, so that's just my take on it. I love all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that we can have a cordial conversation and everybody was respectful. You know what I'm saying? And all of that. And I can respect other people's opinions and their thoughts and views. But I still stand on what I said. Did she or did she not tell the truth? And everybody said yes. So that's all I was talking about. Her telling the truth and whether or not there could be something sketchy as to why she was incarcerated in the first place. All right. So with that all being said, let's go to this footage that you all may have already seen by now, but I'm going to play it for those that didn't. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. And then we're going to talk about this nefarious Hollywood predator, okay, that they try to brush his crimes under the rug, because I have receipts on him. So let's get into it. And I'm going to put an overlay over this.
Let's get them in there. Let's get them in here.
I'm going to fast forward a little bit.
Netflix movie, watch some abs. Bishop is what they were. The word they weak. So I get that news and I say, hell no. Let me call my lawyer friend. Let me make sure. And I'm looking for DA numbers and everything. So I call my lawyer friend with the Johnny Cochran Law Firm. Again, y'all make sure y'all holler at the Johnny Cochran Law Firm. They are the shit. They are legit. So I call my guy. He's like, hey man, listen. Here's how it goes. Normally to do this, we charge say more than $10,000. More than $10,000. Normally to do this, we charge more than $10,000. But as a favor from, and shout out Heidi, because Heidi put all this together. As a favor to you guys from Heidi, because I've worked with her for a while, I want to make sure that I take care of this, and it'll be pro bono. If anything, I'll send y'all a bill for an hourly rate, but we do want to work with Jag. So he's like, I'm going to send somebody up there right now. We will not go with a no bond. I'm going to see if we get that no bond revoked or released or dropped, whatever. Technically, if that no bond is dropped, she can get out. She can get out. So he said, give me about 20 minutes. So Odell, we got Jag in the hotel. Y'all seen the hotel. Y'all now at this point, y'all know where she was at. She was near the south side. Y'all seen her at the pool. We had her put in that hotel, very nice room, and we had to, she was supposed to leave yesterday, but of course got arrested. So she was, we just paid for extra room for her to stay today, and that's when, everybody she brought. She came with more than one. Jag is here with a few people, and now that y'all know Gene Deal, we paid. Everyone's here. Gene Deal, everybody. We got them all here. So we said we got to extend Jaguar Wright's room one more day as of yesterday. So we did it. And because they said June 13th, I'm like, man, we got to extend it, because she got some people still at the room. We're like, we got to extend it probably for a few more days, if not a week. But with that being said, just as a few minutes ago, we get a phone call saying the bond has been lifted or dropped. The no bond, we killed that, and Jaguar Wright will be released in the next couple of minutes. So, take that to the bank. Jaguar Wright will be released in the next couple of minutes. So as you can see, I'm driving. I'm headed right downtown to do whatever I need to do to help her out. Whatever she needs, damn the Ubers, damn the taxis. We'll pick her up. We'll move her around. If she wants to do an interview, if she wants to sit down and talk about this, we're gonna sit her down. We're gonna sit her down, take her back to the studio. Anybody who thinks that, oh, y'all aren't paying Jaguar Wright, man, she's very well taken care of. If she needs her braids done, we're getting her braids done. If she needs her nails done, we're getting her nails done. If she wants to eat, she eats. She doesn't want for nothing. So with that being said, when she comes back, if she wants to sit down and do an interview, we're not going to make her. We're not going to force her. We're not going to cloud chase it. But if she wants to speak on what happened and how this all happened, stay tuned. Real Life Street Stars. We're going to sit down with her and talk with her. But what she's going to do is, the moment she gets out, she's on a flight. We're getting her the hell out of Dallas. She cannot be in Dallas. Y'all be out there trying to get her all jammed up. Ooh, y'all be trying to get her jammed up. So we're going to get her out of Dallas immediately by plane, bus, boat, train, walking 500 miles. 500 miles I will walk. Barapa, whatever you want to say. We will get her out of here. She will go back to wherever she wants to go. We're going to tell her to spin the glove. So she can go wherever she wants to go. Now, with that being said, we want to see if she'll do an interview with us. Hopefully she will. If she doesn't, cool. Let's let her cool her mind. Hysteric is not for the faint of heart. Jaguars are strong. Jaguar is a Jaguar, though, so I know she ain't tripping. She can handle jail. That's not a situation. But of course, we've seen Tasha K, Sean Davy Way, where Tasha K, she said, and I'm gonna say names. Like I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say names. There's a lady who actually got Jag messed up. She wanted the clout, so we're gonna give it to her. A lady named Cleo. She's the one who asked that Jag up to get arrested. There was a cash reward for Jaguar's arrest for that felony warrant. There was a cash reward. I heard the reward was $2,500, but I can't confirm that. The $2,500 is what they were giving out to have Jaguar arrested. They say a lady named Cleo, C-L-E-O or K-L-E, I don't know. But that lady, she collected on that money the kid Jaguar put up. She found her, And Tasha K, of course, with some wine and drink it. And we got no problem with Tasha K, man. Tasha K need to come sit on the couch, so we go all the way through there. But she did that, so Jaguar may want to respond to Tasha K and also Sean Deeboed. She called Sean Deeboed's number while in jail and gave him, she even called us. She called Sean Deeboed. So we're gonna let her respond to that if she chooses, or she may want to respond on her own time. She may hop on her own live or go do it with Philadelphia Network or therealjack.com. She may go do it there. But if she wants to talk on Real Life Street Stars, we're gonna let her do that. But I am headed right now, headed downtown to pick up Jaguar Wright, or at least make sure she gets out, get her some. She loves Fuel City tacos right across the street from Loose Third. Take her to get some Fuel City tacos, whatever she wants, some real food in the system or greasy food, and then see if she wants to go to the studio to talk about it, go from there, and let's just free. Go to the Real Life channel. The interview's still going up. The one we just did. We're gonna put part 2 out. It's crazier than part 1, so watch that. And then we got something very special. We got you did.
All right, so you all heard that. That's the latest update. So a shout out to them for being such good people, because they're helping Jag out. They are good people, and that's very kind and considerate of them. All right, that's very kind and considerate of them. Now, Reggie says, isn't it peculiar? Hold on, isn't it peculiar how the anonymous they find the problems, then amplify against those who speak up? Yes, Reggie, and that's my thing. That's why it all seems so sketchy. Okay, absolutely. Reggie said they're embracing her. Absolutely. Okay. So that all being said, Christy One Love said, Queen got y'all the best bar none. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. Okay, so with that all being said, listen, Claudette said, I totally agree, Queen. Thank you. So listen, when we see one of our people, we know that everybody, has their ups and downs, and everybody has their rights and wrongs, their faults and all of that. At the end of the day, unless somebody just running around here just hurting, harming people, I'm sorry. I think sometimes we should give them the benefit of the doubt, and we should want to see them do better, not bad and worse. For the people who were in his chat when he did that video saying foolish things like, oh, as soon as I call the DA, she's not getting out. Why do you want her in jail? What has she done to you? Why do you have such hatred in your heart? You see, the thing is, when you sow those sorts of seeds, all you yield is poison fruit. Okay? When you dig one ditch, you better dig two, because the first one you dug might be for you, is all I'm saying. Okay? That's what my grandmother always told me. I don't wish nefariousness on people who've not really done anything so detrimental. Now, at the end of the day, some people say that Jag has other issues or whatever. Did it ever occur to the people who think that she's so nefarious that maybe that's why? I'm just saying, at the end of the day. So I like to give people benefit of the doubt. Reggie said so much hatred. Yes. Like when you are all in your feelings and so mad about something somebody said or did that didn't even happen to you, you might need to reevaluate things. Because I like to look at things from a critical standpoint, from a logical standpoint, okay? I like to look at things based on, the good and bad of the person. Is the person mostly good or mostly bad? Now, Diddy, mostly bad, in my opinion. All right? So I'm just saying. And I don't want to discredit people for the right that they've done just because they may have done something bad. That's what I don't ever choose to do. And I wouldn't want anyone to do that for me. Okay? Reggie said, let he or her who is without sin cast the first stone. Exactly. Now, y'all know I can be nefarious, honey. I've been nefarious right here on this live. Y'all know it. Y'all know the queen can be nefarious. Don't you all remember when I did that whole funeral thing about wig one? Y'all remember that? I'm going to replay that soon. Y'all remember that when I put the final nail in Wig's coffin and then sat up here with the wig right beside me and did a whole eulogy and played gospel music? Do you all remember that? How could you forget? Okay, that should go down in the history of ScrewTube as far as I'm concerned. As one of the best roasts ever, is all I'm saying. Now, y'all know that was so nefarious. Shouldn't that discredit all of the good that I do in the community? Look at Celebrity and Crime Intergalactic News Galaxy talking about I remember. I bet you do, nefarious. Okay, Carter said, love it. It was petty. ready, right? I told y'all I'm Patty LaBelle. Stay on my good side if you know it's good. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this lawsuit about this nefarious man, Eric Weinberg. Okay, has 28 allegations, 28 counts against him. Now let's get into it, because here's the thing. He was arraigned, or he was supposed to be arraigned June the 4th, just a few days ago. Nobody said nothing. You mean to tell me TMZ wasn't reporting on it? You mean to tell me Nancy Grace didn't have nothing to say? You mean to tell me Law and Crime didn't do a report? No, of course not. Rolling Stone didn't do an expose? No, they didn't. And why is that? You see, Diddy is a distraction. Just like I told you guys last year, and I said this years ago, that R. Kelly was a distraction from what was going on with Harvey Weinstein. That's what it was. They knew they'd already heard these things about R. Kelly, but all of a sudden, when Harvey Weinstein starts getting all these accusations and his name's all over the media, right? Then R. Kelly is used as a distraction. That's what it is. Now, I'm sure they don't want to admit that, but the truth is the light. All right, so let's bask in it. Now, I'm about to get to this lawsuit. I have the full court documents, because Diddy's not the only one that's going down as far as I'm concerned. Everybody can get it. Let's not try to hide some people because they have the complexion for the protection. Let's call out all of these nefarious people. All right, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. This man's name again is Eric Weinberg. And so here we go. Let me see if I want to put this other watermark. Yeah, I'll put up that one. Okay, so now here is the complaint. This was filed against him by Jane Doe's 1 through 10, accusing him of assault, sexual battery, sexual harassment, gender violence, assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligence. Now, in February of 2019, defendant Eric Weinberg lured plaintiff CD to his home where he sexually assaulted her. Weinberg had offered to help CD to start a modeling career and booked her for a photo shoot. But once he had her alone on his property, he touched her breast, demanded sexual poses, forcibly inserted fingers into between cheeks, and I'm not talking about the ones on her face. Hold on, because some of this is a mess, and I'm going to have to figure out words to say. Now, performed, how do I want to say this? He went downtown on her without her consent and demanded her to taste the cucumber. Now, this was not an isolated incident for Weinberg, a Hollywood producer who has been criminally charged for assaulting multiple women after luring them to his home. Now, as Judge Victoria B. Wilson found at a recent bail revocation hearing, the allegations against Weinberg indicate that he cannot stop and will not stop his assaults on women, and therefore he poses a danger to the safety of women. But y'all ain't talking about him, TMZ. TMZ ain't saying nothing about it. Pay attention. Said he could not and won't stop. Now, plaintiff CD suffered, hold on, let me get this together. Oops. There we go. Hold on, beloveds. Plaintiff CD suffered physical, emotional, and economic harm as a result of Weinberg's assault and brings this action for sexual assault, sexual battery, sexual harassment, gender violence, assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligence. All of these are nefarious allegations. Now, the court has jurisdiction over the subject matter of this action pursuant to Article 6, Section 10 of the California Constitution and Section, okay, we're going to skip past all of that. Now, plaintiff CD is a citizen and resident of Los Angeles, California. Plaintiff is using a pseudonym in this litigation to protect her privacy, and if required by the court, will seek permission to proceed under this pseudonym. Now, defendant Eric Weinberg is a citizen and resident of Los Angeles, California. He was an executive producer and writer known for such hit TV shows as Scrubs, Californication, Veronica's Closet, and Anger Management, among others. The true names and capacities, whether individual, corporate, partnership, joint venture, or otherwise, of defendants Does 1 through 10 inclusive, are unknown to plaintiff, who thus sues them by such fictitious names. When the true names and capacities of Does 1 through 10 are ascertained, plaintiff will amend this complaint by inserting their true names and capacities herein. Now, plaintiff is informed and believes, and on the basis alleges, that the named defendant and each of the fictitiously named defendants are legally responsible in some manner for the occurrences alleged in this complaint, and that the injuries alleged herein were approximately and legally co-conspirator, alter ego, and or joint venturer of the other defendants, and in doing the things alleged herein acted within the course and scope of such agency, employment, alter ego, and or in furtherance of the joint venture. Each of the defendants' acts alleged herein was done with the permission and consent of each of the other defendants. Now, Weinberg actually assaulted CD in February of 2019 after luring her to his house for a photo shoot. One of the ways Weinberg targets women is to assault them is by introducing himself as a successful television producer and offering them the opportunity for a photo shoot. Weinberg approached plaintiff CD in a grocery store parking lot in February of 2019 and introduced himself as the executive producer of Scrubs. CD is a neurodivergent young woman who has been diagnosed with ADHD, which makes her less attuned to social cues and particularly vulnerable to an S predator like Weinberg. Now, when Weinberg first approached CD and in their subsequent text messages, he presented himself as a safe and respectable Hollywood figure that she could trust. Now, he showed her examples of prior photo shoots on his phone, as well as photos of his wife and 3 children in an attempt to build credibility. Weinberg told CD that he had done photo shoots for a lot of Disney stars and offered her the opportunity to participate in a photo shoot as well. Now, when Weinberg followed up with CD about the photo shoot via text message, he told her that she could make money modeling and respectfully discussed with her the types of photos that she would and want to shoot. CD emphasized that her main interest was in candid shots and shots featuring costumes or artistic lighting. She sent examples of the types of photos that she was comfortable with. Weinberg assured her that he would only take pictures of her that she felt proud of and emphasized, now I want you all to pay attention because here's the thing. He emphasized that his more provocative photos were what those models wanted to shoot and not what he was telling them to shoot. First of all, here's the thing. This is a tale as old as time. I've heard many stories, true crime stories that I've researched over the years where people pretend to be a photographer and they use that as a ruse to lure young, unsuspecting women and say they're going to do a photo shoot and all this and that and they can model. If someone thinks that you can model and they're a real photographer, then they need to meet you at a studio where there's more people there. Like an agency, a modeling agency, a place where there's numerous people in the building, not some secluded place, and specifically and definitely not their house. But you know, some people are naive because they're starry-eyed, okay? And they fall for it. And also in this case, they say the young woman wasn't very aware of social cues due to her neurodivergent issue and her having ADHD. So then it goes on to say, CD told Weinberg she would like to try a photo shoot as long as there was no erotica. Weinberg booked her for a 12 p.m. photo shoot, sent her the shooting address, and later reminded her of the appointment. On February the 22nd of 2019, CD arrived at the address that Weinberg had given her for the photo shoot. Weinberg's house in Los Feliz. Once he had lured her to his home, he disregarded his prior assurances. He led CD to his daughter's bedroom and directed CD to take off her shirt and pose on the child's bed. He then positioned her breast. This all sounds nefarious already. Now, CD responded as many victims of S assault respond. She recognized the situation was odd and unexpected, but avoided making a scene and rationalized to herself that this was her first photo shoot and Weinberg must know what he was doing, given his experience in Hollywood and as a photographer. CD was undergoing a trauma response where an overload of stress chemicals alters brain functioning. Survival reflexes and passivity habits often take over, and the victim avoids creating a sense or creating a scene or bruising the offender's ego in order to ensure survival. Okay, this is someone who is emotionally weak. This is someone who is not used to standing up and defending themselves, speaking up for themselves. Okay, this is someone who will just go along with the flow because they don't want to disrupt. They don't want to cause a ripple in the waters. That couldn't be me, is all I'm saying. Now, when Weinberg took CD outside and instructed her to engage in sexual poses, she attempted to passively diffuse the situation by striking funny poses. But Weinberg became angry and yelled at her to shut up and do what he instructed. First of all, I would have left post-haste. Who are you telling to shut up? You're not my father. I don't work for you. Okay, I would have left immediately. Now, CD complied out of fear of being harmed. Weinberg next positioned CD in the hallway, told her to stick her butt out, and without warning or consent, forcefully inserted fingers between her cheeks. CD went numb with fear and survived the experience largely by disassociating, which is a common response to severe trauma. CD again attempted to diffuse the situation without inciting Weinberg's anger, telling Weinberg that she was asexual and not interested in relations with him or anyone else. But Weinberg continued his assault by forcibly going downtown on CD and aggressively demanded that she perform basically taste his cucumber. Now, after Weinberg had finished assaulting CD, he stood between her and the door and demanded assurance that she would not tell the police that he had raped her. CD assured Weinberg that she would not, and he let her leave. As a result of Weinberg's assault, CD suffered and continues to suffer physical, emotional, and economic injuries. Now, Weinberg's assault of CD was part of a pattern of predatory behavior. Weinberg's assault of CD was not an isolated incident and was not a misunderstanding. Weinberg has recently been publicly exposed as an sexual predator who has reportedly lured women to his home with the intent to sexually assault them. On July the 14th of 2022, authorities arrested Weinberg on multiple allegations of assault, including rape. This was between 2012 and 2019. And on October the 4th of 2022, authorities arrested Weinberg again, this time for 18 felony counts related to sexual crimes involving 5 different victims, dating back to 2014. Now, the charges include 6 counts of sexual penetration by use of force, 4 counts of oral copulation, 3 counts of forcible rape, 2 counts of sexual battery by restraint, and 1 count each of assault by means of force likely to cause great bodily injury, attempted sexual penetration by use of force, and false imprisonment by violence. Weinberg was previously arrested in 2014 as well, after he allegedly raped a woman after luring her to his home for a photo shoot. But the LA District Attorney's Office declined to prosecute. Now, I want you all to pay attention. This is what often happens with people who look like him. Okay? This is what often happens. They decline to prosecute. Now, even after a second woman reported the sexual misconduct during a photo shoot with Weinberg later that same year, the District Attorney's Office still declined to prosecute. And why do you think that was? Okay, why do you think that was? Because he has a complexion for the protection. And then look at his last name. Now, since Weinberg's July 2022 arrest, however, prosecutors say dozens more potential victims have come forward about their encounters with Weinberg. At last report, the LAPD had received over 70 tips about Weinberg. Now, I'm sorry, this is sounding a whole lot like Harvey Weinstein, because Harvey Weinstein, as I told you all, had 82 people speak out against him, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. The rest of them were fearful of doing so because he has a history of alleged bullying, Weinstein, that is. Now, Weinberg is now being held without bail after Judge Victoria B. Wilson found that Weinberg has engaged in a pattern of violence for over 6 years and that his behavior is predatory. He targets women doing everyday things, lures them to his home, and once he gets them into the private nest of his home, he commits the S assaults. Now, the allegations against Weinberg indicate that he is a serial rapist. But they're not talking about this man. I want you all to pay attention. They're not talking about this man, but they got all this to report on Diddy. Okay? They got all this to report on Diddy. Please pay attention. Please be careful of your comments in the chats, beloved. Please be careful of your comments in the chat. Okay? You don't want to get your pages snatched by ScrewTube because they absolutely will. Now, with that all being said, goes on to say that Weinberg, hold on, I read all of that. Okay, yeah, see, so the allegations against Weinberg indicate that he's a serial rapist, that he cannot stop and will not stop his assaults on women, and therefore he poses a danger to the safety of women. The criminal allegations against Weinberg and accounts from several of Weinberg's victims indicate that Weinberg habitually pursued women in everyday settings, using predatory techniques to gain their trust, and lured them to his property with the intent to assault them. Plaintiff is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges, that Weinberg regularly lured and attempted to lure victims by offering women the opportunity to participate in a photo shoot set up by a Hollywood producer, as he did with CD. For example, the Hollywood Reporter reports how having interviewed more than 24 women who say that Weinberg approached them in Los Angeles area parking lots, in grocery stores, at cafes, and on sidewalks, commenting about their appearance before listing his Hollywood credits and showing them examples of his photography. Let me tell you all something. You know what this is all likely about? I guarantee you, the women that he was approaching were not all that. The women that he was approaching had low self-esteem, because a woman who does not have low self-esteem and who knows that she looks good and knows that she could be a model, or, you know, she takes good pictures and all of that, they wouldn't have paid him any attention. But see, when people really have low self-esteem, that's the kind of people that people like him look for. They go and look for people who likely have low self-esteem, just plain looking women, not just beautiful, magnificent women, because those women wouldn't even listen to his bullshit, because 9 times out of 10, they already know they look good and don't need to hear it from him. So when you have people doing stuff like this, just coming up to people randomly, and you're really not only engaging in it, you're listening to it and falling for the con, that's usually a sign of a person who has low self-esteem. How many agree with me on that? Now, I could be wrong, but I could be absolutely right. But that's what I think. RG Tyson said, that's a good point, Queen. Thank you. Reggie said, right, like an actress or dancer, really about their grind. Okay? Because somebody, you know, come up to me talking crazy, and I'm just be like, honey, keep it moving, okay? I'm just saying. All right, people putting ones. Miss J said predators still sell dreams, then take advantage. Exactly. And so if you're someone who has a high level of self-worth and you have a high self-esteem and you think a lot of yourself, that's not going to work with you. You don't need them coming and telling you that. You already know it. But the person who's never been validated, the person, or they feel like, you know, they need other people to validate them, shall I say. The person who's not sure of themselves, who never has had a lot of attention, the person who was the wallflower at the parties, the one that was, not picked to go to prom, not one of the first choices. Those are the ones that'll listen to clowns like him. And he knows that. And that's why these are the types of people that I guarantee you he was picking. I'll show you pictures of some of his victims, and that will pretty much tell the story. Now, with that all being said, the criminal allegations against Weinberg and accounts from several of his victims indicate that Weinberg habitually pursued women in everyday settings. Now, plaintiff is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges that Weinberg regularly lured and attempted to lure victims off by offering women the opportunity to participate in photo shoots set up by a Hollywood producer. Now, in other instances, plaintiff is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges, Weinberg lured victims by approaching them on television sets or through online dating apps. What kind of professional, they should have asked themselves, what kind of professional is hooking up with people, trying to recruit people for photo shoots and all that off of dating apps? Make it make sense. Now, published accounts reflect that as with CD, Weinberg was calculating in his efforts to gain victims' trust. He appeared charming and often mentioned his kids or his Hollywood credentials so that women would feel comfortable meeting him at his Los Feliz home. Only once in the privacy of the home would Weinberg become angry, forceful, and violent. According to an investigative report published by The Hollywood Reporter on September the 1st of 2022, it appears that Weinberg may even have kept a record of his S assaults or attempted S assaults. Along with photographs of potential victims, Weinberg's ex-wife reports finding sheets of paper in Weinberg's golf bag with handwritten names and numbers of hundreds of women that frequently included apparent locations beside the women's names, such as Ralph's, Library, Gym, and Glendale's. So he was doing this so frequently, he had to put the places where he met them to remind himself of which one it was. That's what that was. Clearly a predator. Now, first cause of action. Plaintiff incorporates the allegations contained in the preceding paragraphs as though fully set forth herein. Weinberg committed an S assault as defined in civil code. Okay, we're going to skip that. Weinberg committed assault with the intent to commit the crimes delineated in the above referenced sections of the California Penal Code. Now, Weinberg's actions identified in this complaint were his attempts to commit the crimes delineated in the above referenced sections of the California Penal Code. Weinberg's conduct, as described in this complaint, was done with oppression, fraud, and or malice. Second cause of action, sexual battery. Plaintiff incorporates the allegations contained in the preceding paragraphs as though fully set forth herein. Plaintiff brings this claim for sexual battery under California Civil Penal Code. Then it lists the statute against Weinberg in his individual capacity. Weinberg willfully violated plaintiff's statutory right to be free from sexual battery, including by touching her breast, inserting his fingers twixt her cheeks, so to speak, and by performing or going downtown on her and then making her taste his cucumber, all without her consent. Now, Weinberg's S assault of plaintiff was deeply offensive to her personal dignity and would offend a person of ordinary sensitivity. Given the deeply offensive nature of the S assault, plaintiff's explicit assertions of her boundaries before and during their encounter, and Weinberg's long-standing history of S assault and rape, Weinberg committed these acts with intent to cause harmful or offensive contact with plaintiff's person. By intentionally subjecting plaintiff to S assault, Weinberg acted maliciously and in a manner that is deeply offensive to human dignity. As a direct, proximate, and foreseeable result of Weinberg's unlawful conduct, plaintiff has suffered severe humiliations, mental anguish, emotional stress, embarrassment, anger, loss of enjoyment of life, and has been injured in mind and body, the precise amount of which will be proven in trial. As a direct, proximate, and foreseeable result of Weinberg's unlawful conduct, plaintiff has incurred special and general damages, the precise amount of which will be proven at trial. Weinberg acted maliciously and oppressively, and his conduct constitutes conscious disregard for plaintiff's rights and safety, entitling her to punitive damages. Now, third cause of action, sexual harassment. Plaintiff incorporates the allegations contained in the preceding paragraphs as though fully set forth herein. Now, plaintiff was in a business, a service or professional relationship with Weinberg, as among other things, he offered her his services as a photographer and offered her help to start a modeling career. In the course of their photography session at Weinberg's home, Weinberg made several sexual advances, solicitations, and demands of CD, including touching her breasts, demanding sexual poses, inserting fingers between cheeks, performing, going downtown, and having her taste pickles or his cucumber. Weinberg engaged in verbal, visual, and physical conduct of a sexual and hostile nature based on plaintiff's gender, including touching her breasts, demanding sexual poses, inserting his fingers between the cheeks, and going downtown and having her taste the cucumber. Now, Weinberg's conduct was unwelcome, severe, and pervasive. Plaintiff has suffered and will continue to suffer severe physical, psychological, and emotional harm, humiliation, embarrassment, anger, and loss of enjoyment of life as a result of Weinberg's conduct. She has also lost her professional footing and has suffered economically as a result of Weinberg's actions as well. Now, the precise amount of her damages will be proven at trial. In addition to damages, plaintiff seeks exemplary damages and attorney's fees. Fourth cause of action, gender violence. Plaintiff incorporates the allegations contained in the preceding paragraphs as though fully set forth herein. Plaintiff brings this claim for gender violence under California Civil Code, Statute 52.4, against Weinberg in his individual capacity. Under California statute, any person subjected to gender violence may bring a civil action for damages against a responsible party. Gender violence is a form of sex discrimination that includes a physical intrusion or invasion of an sexual nature under coercive conditions. Weinberg discriminated against plaintiff on the basis of her female gender when he sexually assaulted her, including by touching her breast, inserting fingers, and we all know the rest of the nefarious things he did. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, as a direct, proximate, and foreseeable result of Weinberg's unlawful conduct, plaintiff has suffered mental anguish, emotional distress, embarrassment, anger, and loss of enjoyment of life, and has been injured in mind and body, the precise amount of which will be proven at trial. As a direct, proximate, and foreseeable result of Weinberg's unlawful conduct, plaintiff has incurred special and general damages, the precise amounts of which will be proven at trial. Weinberg acted maliciously and oppressively. His conduct constitutes conscious disregard for the plaintiff's rights and safety, entitling her to punitive damages. Plaintiff seeks attorney's fees and costs as expressly authorized by statute. Fifth cause of action. Now, Weinberg intended to cause harmful or offensive contact. Plaintiff reasonably believed she was about to be touched in a harmful or offensive manner, or that Weinberg threatened to touch plaintiff in a harmful or offensive manner. It reasonably appeared to plaintiff that Weinberg was about to carry out the threat. Plaintiff did not consent to Weinberg's conduct. Plaintiff was harmed. Weinberg's conduct was a substantial factor in causing her harm. As a direct and proximate result of Weinberg's conduct, plaintiff has suffered injuries, damages, and losses, including without limitation, severe emotional distress, humiliations, economic loss, and other consequential damages. Weinberg's behavior as alleged herein was willful, wanton, and malicious, and was intended to oppress and cause injury to plaintiff, entitling plaintiff to an award of punitive damages. Sixth cause of action is battery. Plaintiff incorporates the allegations contained in the preceding paragraphs as though fully set forth herein. Weinberg touched plaintiff with the intent to harm or offend her, including, we already know he touched her breasts, the back door, and had her touching that cucumber. So that all being said, this is all nefarious. Now I'm going to skip past some of this because it's getting a little repetitive. Seventh cause of action. Weinberg's actions, including assaulting and battering plaintiff, constitute intentionally causing plaintiff or recklessly disregarding causing her to experience severe mental anguish and suffering. Weinberg's conduct and actions in assaulting the plaintiff went beyond all possible bounds of decency and was shocking, atrocious, and utterly intolerable in a civilized society. I want you all to pay attention. Did you all hear that? Byron B said Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0. Exactly. Because even he said, even they said in the lawsuit that it was beyond all possible bounds of decency and was shocking, atrocious, and utterly intolerable in a civilized society. So basically calling him an animal. And that fits. Very befitting as far as I'm concerned. Now, Weinberg's conduct was extreme and outrageous and caused plaintiff to suffer severe mental anguish and suffering, including post-traumatic stress, loss of sleep, flashbacks, severe anxiety, fear of repeat sexual violence, an unfounded sense of shame and depression, all of which have occasioned and may continue to require psychological and other counseling. Now, as the direct and proximate result of Weinberg's intentional or reckless infliction of emotional distress, plaintiff has suffered injuries, damages, and losses, including without limitation, past and future emotional and mental distress, pain and suffering, impaired earning capacity, and past and future earning capacity, and past and future losses of enjoyment of life. Eighth cause of action, negligence. Plaintiff incorporates the allegations contained in the preceding paragraphs as though fully set forth herein. Weinberg owed plaintiff a duty to exercise ordinary care in photographing her and not to make sexual contact without her consent. Weinberg breached that duty when he made sexual contact she did not consent to, including by touching her in different places, like I already told you. Now, Weinberg also owed plaintiff a duty of reasonable care to give adequate warning of anything that could reasonably be expected to harm her on his property. Weinberg breached that duty by failing to warn her of his intentions of assaulting her and photographing her while doing so, which he did to many other women in his home before her, which he likely intended to do to her and which would likely cause her serious harm. Now, they have the prayer for relief and all of that. So that's what you ought to pay attention. Now, mind you, that was just one of the victims. Okay? That was just one of the victims who calls themselves CD. At the end of the day, he did a whole lot worse to some other people. And let's not forget, let me just pull that up. Let's not forget that he was even trying to entertain some of his son's friends. Scrubs producer Eric Weinberg ordered to stand trial on grave sexual assault charges. The ruling comes after Weinberg's 2022 arrest and a lengthy preliminary hearing. Following several days of a preliminary hearing in Los Angeles, Clara Shortridge Foltz Criminal Justice Center, Judge Charlene Olmedo set an arraignment date for June the 4th. And confirmed Weinberg would be put on trial for the charges, which also include battery and using sexual force. Now, Variety reports that the preliminary hearing ran for more than 2 weeks in late April and early May, during which 9 women gave testimony. And this wasn't plastered all over the news. Did you all see this? They had the whole preliminary hearing that lasted 2 weeks and women giving testimony, 9 victims. But we didn't see this. I just want you all to pay attention to that. each recounted being approached by Weinberg in public places and asked if they were interested in modeling. Some testified that after agreeing to meet him at his home, Weinberg would turn the photo shoot sexual, terrifying the women, most of whom remained anonymous for the hearing. One testified that she was afraid he was going to kill me, she said. I thought maybe he would attack me or grape me or worst case scenario, death. No one knew where I was, so if something had happened, there would be no trace of me. Let me tell you all something. How many of you know the story? How many of you know that story of the man who owned this like some sort of grocery store? Queen Sam said, thank goodness we have the queen to give us these receipts. Thank you, beloved. Claudette said, I didn't hear anything about this creep. Exactly. Okay, Jeremel said, Weinberg and Diddler need to go to prison with Fleece Johnson. Fleece Johnson's out, beloved. Fleece Johnson got out a few years ago. But here's the thing. This is all nefarious, right? But what I find interesting is that, like I said, he has all these victims and we have not heard a peep about it. We've not heard a peep about it. Now, the thing of it is, these are some very serious charges, okay? These are some serious charges, extreme allegations, and multiple victims. Now, why would this not be all over the news? Why aren't they doing anything about this on Law and Crime, for example? Okay? Why aren't they talking about it? They didn't give any public coverage that I saw of that arraignment. But let me continue. I had another thing I was going to say, but the thought escapes me at this point. Now, with that all being said, they go on to say as well, Weinberg is facing 3 counts of forcible rape as well as multiple counts of forcible oral copulation, sexual penetration by force, and sexual battery. 4 of the counts were dismissed on Tuesday, with Olmedo confirming they were either outside of the statute of limitations or there was not enough evidence to take them to trial. How is there not enough evidence? It's interesting. You see how this goes? Because they didn't have enough evidence for Bill Cosby either, did they? They didn't have any DNA. All they had was she said, he said. And that was enough for Bill Cosby to go down. I want you all to pay attention. Now they want to say that some of the cases got dropped, some of the counts, because they didn't have enough information. And some were outside the statute of limitations. But that didn't matter with Bill Cosby either, did it? Because they changed it so that it would be within the realm of him being prosecuted. And mind you, Bill Cosby was freed because he was never supposed to be tried in the first place. All right? So they did all kind of shady stuff with Bill Cosby. But here you have this. So anyway, it goes on to say, 4 of the counts were dismissed on Tuesday, with Olmedo confirming they were either outside of the statute of limitations or there was not enough evidence to take them to trial. She ruled that there was sufficient evidence to hold a trial on the remaining 28 charges, which involved 8 alleged victims from 2014 to 2019. Now, Weinberg was arrested in July on 18 charges of assault, including rape. Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Victoria B. Wilson, who described Weinberg as a potential serial rapist, revoked his $5 million bail and placed him into custody on October the 25th at the bail hearing. Wilson noted in her ruling that the allegations against Weinberg indicate that he cannot and will not stop his assaults on women and therefore poses a danger. So that's why his bail was revoked. Now, Weinberg has pleaded not guilty to the charges against him and has been in jail since 2022. Olmedo, who also oversaw Danny Masterson's dual rape trials, denied any additional bail request on Tuesday, citing him as a public risk. A trial date has yet to be set. Now, that's what I'm waiting on, because I'm going to be all over this trial. Pay attention. Now, in addition to the criminal charges against Weinberg, the former producer is also facing several civil lawsuits. In November of 2022, 2 unidentified women filed separate civil lawsuits alleging that Weinberg assaulted them in 2019, and they were seeking general and punitive damages. An investigation by the Hollywood Reporter found that they that more than 24 women alleged a pattern of predatory behavior by Weinberg that dated back to 2000, including claims involving minors. Okay. As far back as 2014, multiple people said they sought the help of police. Pay attention. But in most instances, law enforcement failed to adequately investigate their allegations. And why would they do that? I think we all know. Okay, I think we all know. Now, Weinberg allegedly targets women in grocery stores, coffee shops, and other public places. The women were typically in their 20s or 30s. He would offer to photograph them, according to LAPD officials in a statement about his arrest in July. Once the women were in the residence, he would escort them during the photo shoot. So anyway, this is also deplorable. This is all deplorable. Hold on, beloveds. Let me see something real quick. Because at one point, I do believe they had a press conference on him. Let me see if I can find anything on it. Yeah, here we go. Let's get into it. But I am nosy. Thank you, beloved. It's my bedtime too, honey. Pay attention. Thank you for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Now, we're going to go to this press conference because I find this all so nefarious. Let me share my screen. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
By thanking both the LAPD for the work that they have done in this case, especially the detective, and I want to thank our DA who's done incredible work as well.
I would like to have thanked them also had they prosecuted this man in the beginning when people were levying allegations against him rather than just saying they didn't have enough evidence. What evidence do you need when there's multiple people saying these things?
Well, we're here to announce that our office has filed charges against TV producer Eric Weinberg for rape, sexual assault, sexual battery, false imprisonment, assault, and forcible penetration with a foreign object. I want to start by acknowledging the courage and strength that the victims in this case have shown to come forward. This is incredibly traumatic. They were victims of these horrible crimes. And then we know that sometimes the system itself can be very traumatizing. And without them, we would not be able to hold this individual accountable. And we're hoping that there are other victims out there that will come forward. We know that there are many more. My Office of Victims of Bureau Services, and you're here for Jaguar Wright shortly, is here to provide support, guidance, and certainly all the assistance that we can provide. At this time, we're charging cases involving 5 women victims. As I indicated before, the investigation is continuing, and you'll hear more from the LAPD on this later. But we're seeking those that may have additional information or believe that they may have been victimized to come forward. The crimes that are being charged today go back to 2014. This investigation revealed that the defendant relied on his position of influence to lure young women for photo shoots where he allegedly sexually assaulted them. We will hold anyone who commits such acts accountable, no matter what your job is, your wealth, or your privilege. I also like to take this opportunity to make a remark about crimes against women. Just last week, many of you will remember, I stood before you, and we also had 2 photographs of another sexual predator who was preying on young girls and young women whose behavior whose behavior had gone unchecked for many years. I believe that as a society, we must do more to protect women and girls. Socially, for far too long, we have accepted the assaults and sexual assault as a reality that women must guard against.
It's 1-800.
His wealth. I believe that we are
Legal process, you are still entitled to victim services. No victim should ever have to.
¿Qué pasa a una persona porque son mujeres? Peligroso puede estar.
Why are these back on the streets? So he is out on bond, like the DA said. He is out on bond. As far as the coverage that we've had with as far as making sure the public's safe, that's why we're here today. There's no doubt that the DA was clear. The DA was absolutely clear in saying that this man is a danger to the public, and I'm 100%, and the LAPD is 100% in agreement with that. And the media, you guys are here today, and that's what putting this out and for people to know and spreading it that way, I think that's where it's going to be at. I'm not going to discuss like as far as tactics and what we have in place, but we're watching him. That's for darn sure.
Does he need to stay at home? Is there a monitoring system, anything that's ensuring that he's going to be at his house and nowhere else?
So I don't know the conditions of his bond. As far as the bondsman, he did post a $5 million bond. Now the bondsman can put a bracelet on him. I don't know his condition as of right now.
Any other questions?
Did I give you right? You said there were 5 victims so far? So are there...
Well, the cases, we're charging cases involving 5 victims. As Detective Lamar said, and we've said a couple of times, this is an ongoing investigation. We know that the photos have been made public already. Normally, we don't put out photos unless we think there's a danger to public safety. We believe that there's a danger to public safety, and we believe that there may be other victims out there. That's why we're putting out the photos.
When did you first become aware of his alleged behavior?
Questions for me, sure. So the Los Angeles Police Department became aware of his behavior in 2014.
And just to ensure that I have this correct, you are putting this squarely on the judge. The LAPD and DA's office was in agreement that there should be no bail here, and the judge made a decision to put a number on it, and now he's back out.
That is correct. Not putting it squarely on the judge. I'm putting it squarely on certainly the judge, but the system as well, right? We requested that he be held in what we call preventative detention, which means no bail. We have a cash bail system. The judge elected not to accede to our petition, and he placed a monetary value on his release. And because this is a very wealthy person, he immediately posted bail. It's not just the judge. Obviously, he had the option to do otherwise, but the reality is that we continue to have a system that allows this to occur.
You have a previous.
Hold on. I should have let you all hear the next question somebody asked. Now, did you all hear that? What he said, the prosecutor said that they continue to have a system that was that the victim's attorneys? I don't know who he was, but he said that we continue to have a system that allows these things to occur. Absolutely. Now you should ask yourself. They let him get out on bail, even though it's $1 million. That's nothing to him. He's wealthy, like the man said. Interesting thing is, somebody like Jaguar, they want to hold her in jail. Okay, I'm sorry, make it make sense. That's what they want to do. Okay, rich people with power and wealth and prestige and of certain last names get to have all sorts of benefits around here. Please pay attention. But let me let you all hear this question that they were asked right before I clicked off. This is all crazy. Hold on, beloveds. I'm trying to find my overlay. There it is.
Leading to these cases is really his criminal history.
For our petition, and he place a monetary value on his release. And because this is a very wealthy person, he immediately posted bail. It's not just the judge. Obviously, he had the option to do otherwise, but the reality is that we continue to have a system that allows this to occur.
Do you have a previous criminal history?
Minimal, nothing really. The rest pertaining to these cases is really his criminal history.
You became aware of his behavior in 2014. So have you been investigating him for 8 years, or it seems very long?
I won't get into too much detail. He was investigated in 14. There was a lapse of time there was from 14 till obviously current, right? But I won't get into the details of that because there is some of those cases are still being investigated. But yes, there was some cases that came up in between those dates from 14, like the DA said, the 5 victims, 14 up until we had one in 2020.
So what's the tipping point? I mean, it sounds like he's been investigated for many years. Is it now you have enough evidence, or how does that work?
I don't know if there's a tipping point, but there was a recent case in the beginning of this year that made us relook at everything. And that's what, and I won't get into numbers, but that's what kind of reopened the other investigations. And we started digging into all of those because those were before my time. I got to Northeast Sexual Assault Unit in 2019. So I came in after those cases, original.
Let me tell you all something. That cop is full of shites, okay? Did you all notice that he's full of shite? I'm glad you did, because I know you did. Here's the thing. First of all, he's all cap. I want you to pay attention. When you see somebody get up there to the podium and they're talking real fast, yeah, they're usually lying. That's just what it is. They're usually lying. When you're getting up there trying to gloss over things, trying to answer questions real fast, that's lying. Okay, that's when you're lying. Now, when they first asked him about the man, he basically said, first of all, let's go by the last thing that he started saying. I wasn't here. I just got here in 2019. And Nobody asked you about your history. That's deflecting and gaslighting. See, this is what gets me. When people don't want to answer the question, when they don't want to tell you the truth of what you ask, they will gaslight and deflect. I just got here in 2019. Or prior to that, when the man said, well, there was a case in 2014, you know, why was there a lapse or something? And did you just get new information? Well, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into numbers. Nobody asked you to get into no darn numbers. He asked you a simple question. He asked you a simple question to which you absolutely could have answered without compromising any of the cases that are now open and pending. Okay. But he says, you know, because there's other cases that's open, so I'm not going to get into the details of that. Nobody asked you about the other cases. What the man asked you is that he first had a case in 2014. So basically, you know, now that he's been arrested, there was a lapse. Did you all get some new information? All you had to do was say yes or no. Because it's apparent that you got new information 9 times out of 10. I just want you all to pay attention. Okay, sitting up there trying to gaslight and deflect. That's what he was doing. And pay attention also when the first person asked, and then the guy stepped aside and looked at the cop for answering, when he said, does he have any prior convictions or prior criminal history? He was like, oh, you know, well, not, how did he say? He said, no, well, you know, not pertaining to this, you know, minimal. Just say yes. Nobody asked you to explain. Just simply say yes. Okay, he wanted to downplay it. That's what he was doing. He was downplaying it. Do you think he would have done that for me or you? He was downplaying it. He said, you know, minimal. You know, nothing pertaining to these cases. We didn't ask you what it pertained to. He didn't ask you what it pertained to. If it had anything to do with these cases, and guess what? He's lying because it did. It may not have anything to do with those specific cases, but it wasn't minimal. Didn't I just read you all the lawsuit filing that said, in fact, that there was something that he did in not only 2014, but also in 2000? So what are you talking about? It was minimal. What about the allegations that the cops didn't want to pursue? Well, they said there was not enough evidence. The reports were made. Don't act like he didn't do anything before this, and if he did, it was just minuscule. Oh, it was just minuscule. It was nothing to do with this. Get the F out of here. This is what they do. It's what y'all to pay attention. Christopher said, Queen is a genius. Thank you, beloved. I'm just saying I pay attention to detail. And I know when somebody's BSing right away. Okay? Sit down somewhere if they're telling all them lies, honey. You can sit down somewhere. But anyway, let me continue. I find it all nefarious. Now, so listen to this. And let me just show you all this man's picture, first of all, and some of his victims. And see, here's the victims right here. And you can clearly see what I said rings true. These are women that are not all that beautiful. Now, I'm not saying they're ugly. They're just not anybody that you would go up to them off the streets. If you're a real photographer who's used to photographing models and stuff like that and getting them modeling jobs, you would never go up to any of these people and say, oh, you know what? You're so beautiful. I need to take pictures. That's what you wouldn't do. They should have known it was all cap. But they didn't. They didn't. Now, only one of them looks like she could possibly, do something, but two of them, please sit down somewhere, is all I'm saying. And I'm not trying to disparage them, but at the same time, I'm saying, let's just be realistic. And some people are not realistic, and some people have low self-worth and low self-esteem. And then when somebody like him comes along, predatorial though he is, and starts telling them things that make them feel good about themselves, they want so desperately to believe it. That is why they would go off to his residence by themselves. You think some strange man can come to me and tell me something, and then I'm going to just go meet him at some place far off by myself? That's crazy. I'm sorry, what? The naivete of some people is just amazing to me. People make themselves victims. They're willful victims because they don't educate themselves, on how to rebuff people's advances. And some people just don't want to speak up for themselves. They're afraid. That's them right there. Okay. Now, do any of those look like somebody you just go up to and be like, oh, you just need to be modeling? Please sit down, sir. Okay. I would have known he was running game from day one. That's all I'm saying. Now, the one in the middle, she's pretty. This is him. Okay. This is the type of people that do that 9 times out of 10. Look at it. Straight weirdo. This is one of the victims here. Now, he know darn well he was running game. He knows darn well running game. Make it all make sense. Now, that lady's pretty to me, but I'm just saying, at the end of the day, he was running game. Red said none of them have the look, and that's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying they're unattractive, but they're certainly not the person that you would see a real photographer who's used to booking gigs for models go up to them on the street and say, hey, you have this unique look. You look like this, you look like that. Because here's the thing. You don't even have to be necessarily beautiful to be a successful model. You can just have a unique looking face and features. You could have something that's so different about you. You understand? So with that all being said, they don't have either as far as I'm concerned. He needs to sit down somewhere. That's all I'm saying. Reggie said she's giving Gina Davis vibes. Yeah, I could see that. Okay. Michael said he looks like the Joker. Hold on. Oh, hell no. I said, not you saying they subpar in a nice way. The shade is dark. Oh my goodness, please stop. I'm not saying they're subpar. I'm just saying that they just don't look like models is all I'm saying. They don't look like models is all I'm saying. Now listen, I went to modeling school and I used to do modeling. At the end of the day, you're not going to go up to those 3 people on the street, and I'm just saying you're not going to do that unless you're running game. Unless you're running game. That's all I'm saying. And only women who look like that would fall for it 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10. Do you think if Taraji P. Henson, when she wasn't famous, was walking down the street and somebody said that to her, she would fall for it? No. She's been told that she's beautiful thousands of times, I'm sure. It's people who have never been told these things on a regular basis who just want to believe it. That's just my take on it. All right, not to disparage anybody, but the truth is the light. Shall we all bask in it? And now let's listen to this because it's all nefarious. Now, Weinberg initially, hold on, in February of 2019, Gil Ramirez put out a query on Twitter on behalf of his friend Avion Anderson. Hey, folks in the LA region, I have a friend that has been asked by Eric Weinberg to take photos of her. Can you help me do a little research on him? Has anyone heard of him? Now, this is a smart person because they already knew my friend is not looking like no model. Now this man's talking about he's so taken aback, he wants to take pictures. I got to investigate. Okay, this person had sense. So they put out a query on Twitter. Has anyone heard of him? He asked. Weinberg initially approached Anderson, then a 29-year-old storyboard artist, in the parking lot of a Ralph's in North Hollywood. Now, the then 58-year-old told her or introduced himself as a writer-producer for the hit show Scrubs, in addition to being an amateur photographer. She recalls that he asked if she modeled and would like to shoot with him. She should have known he was lying right there. Have you ever modeled? Sure, sit down somewhere, please. Okay, you can tell models 9 times out of 10 when you see them. Okay, I think if you just look at it as an appreciation for the sculpture of your body, you'll really love your photos. It'll be empowering for sure. Game, okay? This is what he sent her in a text. Now, over the next week and a half, Anderson did her due diligence. Weinberg explained that he didn't have a public portfolio of his work because he didn't want TV execs finding my name next to photos of gorgeous models and actresses. But he sent her examples of his photography. Let me tell you something. Anytime someone comes up talking about they're a photographer and you look like a model, men or women, because they go out and look for, you know, I'm not talking about predators. I'm talking about real people who really do this for real, in real life. They also find attractive men and will ask them to pose as well. But if a person comes up to you saying certain things like that and they do not have a portfolio, please run. All professional photographers who are really worth their salt will always have, they're not going to be showing you pictures in phones. That's so ghetto. When they said that he showed this woman the pictures in his phone, sir, please have several seats, okay? That's what I would have told him, but let me continue. Now, over the next week and a half, Anderson did her due diligence, okay? So goes on to say, let me skip past all of that. Told her he didn't have a portfolio. Lying. All right, now she corresponded with him via text about the type of shoot they do, vetoing ideas that she found too risque or explicit. Weinberg had her speak with a model who vouched for him. Okay, did you speak to this person in person, face-to-face, or over the phone? Because, honey, it could have been anybody. Could have been his wife that he was with at the time, because she clearly knew something was afoot, okay? That's why she didn't want to admit when she found out, you know, about these accusations. She didn't want to tell them that he was a whole sex addict, okay? Those are her words, not mine. Now, Ramirez's Twitter post yielded no insight, and Anderson went to Weinberg's Los Feliz home for the shoot. A stand-up comedian as well, she brought some silly props along with her, including a realistic bird head. I told him exactly what I wanted and what I didn't want, but he had other things in mind. Now, the shoot began, she says, in a room that appeared to belong to a child, where Weinberg instructed her to disrobe and pose on top of the bed. While photographing her on the bed, Weinberg began adjusting her breasts and all of that. Now, we already know this part. Okay, she started cracking jokes as she got more uncomfortable. He told her, shut the F up. Quit making this a joke. Honey, I would have been out of there so quick. What now? Can you imagine? This mother sucker you don't even know. Listen, Queen, I'm just at the point I can only say, good Lord. I just wish the Most High could have told me in advance. Horrible. I know, right? This is all crazy. Thank you, beloved, for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and bless. I was about to say peace, love, and blessings. Because I'm reading what all hell no said, breast of judgment. Peace, love, and blessings to you, beloved. This is all crazy. This is all crazy. Now listen to this. He told her, just shut the F up. Avion, quit making this a joke. What? I would have been out of there so fast. First of all, imagine you meet someone, they tell you to come for a photo shoot. They're seeming so nice, and they're telling you they work in Hollywood, and they show you their wife and kids and all this stuff. And then you get there, and then because you're just being a little silly to make yourself feel more comfortable, they curse you out. Serious red flag. Then he says, Anderson recalls Weinberg lashing out at her. Why do you always have to fight? A few days later, Anderson would detail this encounter in a social media post. Weinberg led Anderson upstairs where he positioned her in a hallway arching her back against the wall. She says he then photographed himself touching her privates before telling her, "Just tell me when to stop." What? She didn't have time to react or respond before she felt him repeatedly going between those cheeks. This is all crazy. Standing 5 feet compared to his 6'2" Weinberg and only weighing 98 pounds, Anderson said she went numb like a dead fish. Let me tell y'all something. See, this is how you know people. This is how you know people will fall for anything. What model does anyone know that's 5 feet tall? What model does anyone know that's 5 feet tall? I'm sorry, anyone? Anyone? One's in the chat if you know a model that's 5 feet tall. So she didn't think this man was up to nefariousness when he told her she could ask her if she's a model. Who's going to ask a woman 5 feet tall, weighing 98 pounds, if you're a model? Even Marcel, if you don't sit down somewhere, Reggie, she is taller than me. She is like 5'8". I think we're about the same height. She's like 5'7.5" to 5'8", Reggie. No, 5 feet. That's a whole 7 inches shorter. That's a whole, and here's the thing. Let me tell you something, because remember, okay, I went to modeling school. So what I do know is this. If you are beautiful, like Eva Marcel is, they'll let you slide an inch or two. That's just a fact. They'll let you slide an inch or two. Now, I had a friend one time named Keisha who was attractive, wasn't beautiful. She was attractive, but she was only like 5'3". She went to the modeling agency, a modeling agency downtown, and she got upset because she said they told her she was too short, and that if she wanted to really be a model, the only way somebody her height could ever even do print work is if she was extremely beautiful. They want tall models. Sorry. Anybody walking up to a woman that's 5 feet talking about, are you a model? Now, you know that's all cap. Now, you know that's all cap. Man, it makes no sense is all I'm saying. It makes no sense. Hold on. As a matter of fact, now Reggie has me looking up Eva Marcel's height because I remember her from America's Next Top Model. And she's about 5'8". They usually want you to be a 5'9" or above. She was just a little bit under, but she's extra attractive. Hold on. She's extra attractive as far as I'm concerned. And so they let her slide. Yeah, she's 5'7". She's 5'7". So I'm a bit taller than her. But at the end of the day, 5 feet, come on now. Y'all know better than that. But let me continue. So she said she laid there and went numb like a dead fish. Honey, I would have been swinging. Okay, I would have been swinging. Okay, forget the laying there. Now, according to Anderson, Weinberg then brought her to his bedroom and performed, you know what, downtown. Okay, and then he said he was doing this to give her some glisten so that, you know, on her private, so that her privates will be glistening in the photos. This is all sick. Why are privates being shown in photos that she clearly said she didn't want to be risque? She said she told him then and throughout the encounter that she was asexual. This didn't bother him none. Now, at the conclusion of the alleged assault, at the conclusion of it, she remembers Weinberg standing between her and the door as she dressed, thanking her for coming over and telling her another woman was on her way after the shoot. You're not going to go to the police and tell everybody I raped you, right? I would have said, no, of course not. As I dialed 911 on my way out the door. Please miss me with it. Now, it took her 3 days to muster the courage, 3 days of not bathing to preserve the dried bodily fluids before she went to the police and submitted the grape kit, okay, and did the examination. According to the police report, Avion did not stop Weinberg at any time or state that she did not want him to touch her or digitally penetrate her because she was afraid that he would become aggressive or stop her from leaving. She believed that if she allowed him to do what he wanted and stayed cordial with him, he would have become aggressive. When she returned home and took a bath, seeing her nude body for the first time since the shoot, she vomited. Anderson heard nothing from the LAPD in the weeks and months that followed. In that time, she describes how her mental health declined, along with her performance at work, and how she lost her dream job as an art director on an animated show. And then Anderson learned about the Facebook group. So the police didn't do anything. I want y'all to pay attention. They had all the proof, the evidence, and the DNA, but they didn't do anything because they basically said, well, you didn't tell them to stop. What if she was afraid, like she said? Do you all remember a case a long time ago? I read about this case a few years ago where there was a woman who claimed that she was raped, and because she asked the rapist to put on protection, the judge said that she consented to it. Did you all ever hear that story? Anyone read that besides me? The judge literally told her that because she asked him to put on protection, that she gave him consent. This man broke in her house. This is all crazy. But this is what they'll do. You know, some of these judges, as far as I'm concerned, and these police officers are predators too. So they will cover for them. Some of them have sick fetishes that they in fact engage in. So they will cover for them. They will be lenient with them. That's just the fact. Some of them are misogynists, and they think that if women did it or it happened to them, they asked for it. How were you dressed? How many drinks did you have? Well, you willingly went to his home, didn't you? That's the attitude some of them have. Please pay attention. Like the song says, it's a man's world. Now, about a year after Anderson's alleged assault in January of 2020, Clara Wilson, a 30-year-old artist in LA, posted on a private Facebook group of women in Los Angeles. And this is what she said. I'm reaching out to see if any other women have encountered this man, Eric Weinberg. I met him over a dating app, and although the evening began consensually, he later violated my consent multiple times and forced me to do things I didn't want to do. I want to know if anyone else has had any experiences with him. He is a prominent screenwriter and producer, and it makes me physically sick to think that he probably does this all the time. Let me tell you something. Oh, my Lord. When I tell you, Red said that's why they be wearing those black robes. Okay. Let me tell you something. Support the Art says misogyny plays a big role in all of this on top of supremacy. Right. But let me tell you all something, though. At the end of the day, these women that he was doing these things to, none of them seemed like they were fighters. Honey, we would have been fighting to the death. Do you hear me? We would have been fighting to the death if we had to, because it's not going down. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't take losses. Okay, I don't take L's is all I'm saying. So, yeah, it would have been real bad real quick. All right? And from the looks of him, I think I could take it. I'm just saying, hand-to-hand combat. Pay attention. Drea said narcissism is real. Absolutely. This is all crazy, honey. Okay, let me continue because I don't want to get myself all hyped up. Now, goes on to say, I want to know if anyone else has had any experiences with him. He is a prominent screenwriter and producer, and it makes me physically sick to think that he probably does this all the time. On December of 2019, Wilson met Weinberg and on OkCupid. He listed his age as 49, 10 years shy of the truth. Did he really think he could pass? They began texting a day later, exchanging explicit messages and images. I'm very sexually open, but not going to jump into your bed without at least a conversation or two about other things, she wrote to him. On December the 21st, they met for drinks at a bar, then decamped at Weinberg's house, but only to hang out and talk. This is what she later told police. After they began kissing consensually, Wilson says Weinberg forced her to touch that cucumber, to taste it. He then pinned her on the ground, held her arms down, and forced her to perform other acts, sexual acts. I said, no, I don't want to do that. Get off me. After the encounter, Wilson acknowledges that she continued to text with Weinberg in the hopes of clarifying the negative experience. Honey, this is all crazy. Okay, why would you do it? We want the people who hurt us to fix it, she says. Who wants that? Who wants that? If you hurt me, I'm going to fix you. Okay? But let me continue. Weinberg dodged accountability, however, and then he indicated that he would not be seeing her again. She posted this on the Facebook group. Now, the initial post and the follow-up that was that Wilson shared on a private Facebook group, where other women offered nightlife safety tips and cautionary tales, prompted an outpouring of stories from those who said they or someone they knew also had been approached by Weinberg for photos. Many of those interactions, the women said, ended in sexual assault. This is all crazy. Queen said, Queen Sam said the Queen told us about those dating sites. I did tell you all, some of y'all still on there looking for love in all the wrong places. Y'all gonna have to learn the hard way. I told you. And then I told a friend of mine about that. And he told me I was old fashioned. Oh, Queen, you're so old fashioned. Okay, you call it what you want. But I don't go on dating apps. That's all I'm saying. Okay, please. You never know what you're gonna get. All right. Jeremiah said, Queen bring forth Mortal Kombat fight. LOL. I really do. You didn't say something. I think I told you all the story about where this man broke in my house one time when I was younger, when I first moved here. Broke in my house for the same reason that man lured those women to his. Okay? It was a fight, is all I'm saying. And at the end of that fight, he was in jail, and I was on stage at the World Congress Center a few hours later, modeling for the Bronner Brothers hair show. And then when I was telling them what happened, they were like, girl, how are you still here? You're not all shooken up. And I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, that's something that happened. I've dealt with things in my life before, and I'm a strong person. At the end of the day, he's in jail. And he ended up going to prison. All right? He had the right one that day. That's what he had. He had the right one. That's all I'm saying. All right? Because I have very good fighting skills is all I'm saying. All right? I told y'all we took Taekwondo when we were kids. Please pay attention. Not to mention, I used to box. Y'all better wake up and smell the coffee. But now, with that all being said, and here's the thing. Claudia said, Queen put hands and feet on that ninja. Lana L said, Queen was a Bonnet Brother model. Legendary. You mean Bronner Brothers? Yes. I used to go to church at Dale C. Bronner's church too, years after that. But yeah, I did used to participate in the Bronner Brothers hair shows when I was in college. When I came here, I wanted to go to beauty school after I already completed college, mind you. But when I got to Atlanta, I wanted to be a platform stylist. So I was going to hair school, right? And then so they had some people, they wanted to model for the Bronner Brothers hair show, and they picked me to be one. So that was important to me. Because it was legendary. And that's why I was like, honey, come hell or high water. That's why that fool didn't know what he was up to. He's coming there trying to attack me. Yeah, he got dealt with real quick is all I'm saying. He ran up out of there is all I'm telling you. Lana said Bronner Brothers, darn autocorrect, okay? But so anyway, let me continue. Let's not make this about me. Y'all know I have so many stories to tell. Pay attention. Now, when Anderson first learned of the chorus of other accusations, she said she felt relieved but also sickened. I was hoping that I was just hypersensitive. I was hoping I was just being hysterical. I don't know why she was questioning herself. It was clearly that he was being nefarious, okay, and had bad intentions. Now, in interviews with THR, more than 24 women alleged that Weinberg approached them in LA area parking lots, grocery stores, cafes, and on sidewalks, commented on their appearance and all of that. And then THR spoke with women whose claims go as far back as 2000 and as far away as Portland, Oregon, and New York. This man sounds like Ted Bundy. Only he wasn't taking their lives, he was doing other stuff. Now, some say that Weinberg would pressure them into the photo shoots and then tell them to get them to take off their clothing. He would exaggerate his authority in the industry and threaten to derail their nascent careers. Sound familiar? So he would threaten to derail their careers, okay, to get them to comply. Multiple women described Weinberg engaging in sexual activity without their consent, frequently photographing the acts as they took place. All of these freaks seem like they take from the same handbook. This all sounds familiar. Now, This is what Harvey Weinstein was alleged to have done. Not even alleged, he's convicted. This is what Harvey Weinstein did too, and Epstein. Now, as for comment on specific allegations, Weinberg's divorce attorney, Karen Silver, offered the following statement. As we have unfortunately seen these days, time and time again, a heavily litigated and acrimonious custody dispute has now given rise to strategically placed criminal allegations. These crimes or these claims have previously been investigated and reviewed by both law enforcement and the Los Angeles Family Court, and the results have continued to unveil a myriad of evidence, as well as documentation and expert analysis that woefully undermine the narrative now being promulgated. Now, though Mr. Weinberg himself is precluded from commenting on any aspect of this litigation due to court orders, family law rules, and in the best interest of his minor children, he will continue through counsel to cooperate in all aspects of his investigation or this investigation, and if necessary, will address these allegations in the only forum that should matter, a public courtroom. Now, dating back to at least 2014, multiple women had taken their allegations to law enforcement, but they say that it was, in most instances, police failed to follow up or adequately investigate. See, that's why that officer who was talking at the press conference, that's why he didn't want to talk about that. Well, they asked him, well, you know, didn't he have some allegations from 2014? And then, what do y'all have, new evidence now? Yeah, because y'all didn't do a damn thing in 2014. Y'all turned a blind eye. It's all I'm saying. You acted like it was not important. You didn't follow up with the witnesses. You didn't even conduct a thorough investigation. So how can they say there was not enough evidence if you didn't conduct an investigation to gather more evidence? You didn't reach back out to the victims. You understand what I'm saying? And this is no coincidence. Now, in at least 2 cases, police believed sufficient evidence existed to charge Weinberg, but the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office, then under the leadership of Jackie Lacey, declined to prosecute. Lacey didn't bother to comment. I bet she didn't. Now, still, even as their cases seemed to stall in other more high-profile cases, hashtag Me Too reckonings were covered in the media. The women on the Facebook group continue to follow up with law enforcement, seek out additional victims, and support one another. Finally, on July the 14th of 2022, more than 2 years after Wilson's initial Facebook post, police arrested Weinberg on 20 charges of assault, including rape. As he awaits arraignment, Weinberg remains free on a $3.25 million bail. Speaking publicly for the first time, Weinberg's accusers detailed their encounters with him and the years of frustration and legal dead ends, and the eventual support of those closest to him that led to the case against one of Hollywood's most prolific alleged sexual criminals. Weinberg, now 61, took a circuitous route to TV writing. A graduate of the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, he first worked in finance at an investment bank, the one called Oppenheimer and Company, before netting his first writing credits in the mid-1990s. He was a steady presence in writing rooms from the late 90s until 2016. He worked on the hit NBC show Scrubs from 2002 to 2006, with credits on more than 100 episodes, and rose up to executive producer. He held the same position on Showtime's Californication, starring David Duchovny, and FX's Anger Management, headlined by Charlie Sheen. Oh, that all makes sense. We all know about Charlie Sheen. How come Charlie Sheen didn't get canceled? Wasn't he going around here giving people H-I and the V? They didn't cancel 2.5 Men, did they? I found it all in the Ferris is all I'm saying, because they sure took off the Cosby Show. Do y'all remember that? But they didn't take off 2.5 Men. And that other guy, Stephen, what's his name, that played on the show Seventh Heaven, he was accused of some PDF file type stuff. They didn't cancel that show either, is all I'm saying. Please pay attention. I just noticed little things like that. Now, after 2016, his trail of credits grows cold. To those closest to him, he would blame the work stoppage on the hashtag Me Too and shifting cultural attitudes, saying nobody wants to hire an old white man. Get a load of this. Y'all hear it? So he's oppressed. Said nobody wants to hire an old white man. trying to sound downtrodden. Okay, well, let me continue. But according to one producer who worked with Weinberg and spoke with THR on the condition of anonymity, he had become unrecommendable, even without working according to a partial judgment in his divorce. Weinberg's monthly income is $45,794, likely a mix of residuals and investments. So he's still getting paid. Weinberg was still very much a working writer, however. However, when he approached then 18-year-old Catherine, an actress whose real name is being withheld and who spoke on the condition of anonymity out of the concerns for her career, it was 2014, 2 months after she had moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting. Catherine heard someone calling after her in the Studio City Ralph's parking lot. She says that Weinberg approached her, told her he wanted to photograph her, and listed some credits. Catherine's ears perked up to the mention of Scrubs, a favorite show of hers. She figured Weinberg could be a valuable connection in a new city. After confirming Weinberg's identity online, Catherine told him that he first had to talk with her mom before she could go through with the shoot. Weinberg and her mom had a full conversation in which the mom expressed her concerns. Okay. Now, in response, she says Weinberg reassured her mom, telling her, "I have a daughter myself. I totally understand. I mean, no harm to your daughter." Said the fox to the sheep. This is all nefarious. As a final precaution, Catherine brought a close friend, Selena Kendelman, who was then 20 years old. She brought her there for the shoot. Weinberg's Los Feliz home, it was at Weinberg's Los Feliz home and Tesla Park in front. Oh no, the Tesla Park in front impressed Catherine, she recalls. He offered both her and her friend drinks, which they declined. Now, Weinberg told Kimmelman to stay in the living room while he photographed the friend upstairs. She says that citing better lighting, Weinberg brought her upstairs where he was pushing and pushing and pushing to be more sexual than I wanted to be, she says. He got shall I say, his cucumber stood up straight and began to rub his cucumber through his pants. She tried to laugh it off and continue with the photo shoot. Honey, I wouldn't have been laughing at nothing because I wouldn't have saw anything funny. I would have felt completely disrespected and I would have gotten my stuff and got the H up out of there. What's wrong with people? Putting themselves in these precarious positions. Now, you look back on these moments, and even back when I was at that age, I would always say, I would never let this happen. But then when you're in that position, I really did just freeze up and I didn't want to make him uncomfortable. Who's thinking about a predator being uncomfortable when you're uncomfortable? See, this goes back. I want you all to pay attention because this clearly goes back to the spiritual channel. When I tell you there's some things you should never compromise ever at all for anybody. Now, she's worried about him being uncomfortable. Forget him. Worry about yourself. Weinberg posed her on his bed and pulled aside her clothing before inserting fingers, okay? She remembers that as her eyes began to well up with tears, Weinberg said that she looked beautiful when she cried and started taking pictures of me crying. Yeah, I cannot. They ended the shoot, but then they returned to the living room where Kimmelman waited. Weinberg surprised them both by asking if she would like to take a turn modeling. He wouldn't abuse two people, Catherine recalls thinking. I was the target. But according to Kimmelman, the same thing happened to her, almost beat for beat. So why wouldn't you tell your friend, no, let's just go. We're ready to leave. After briefly and vaguely acknowledging that something strange had happened to both of them, the two friends would not talk about the experience for years. Y'all didn't double team him. Y'all didn't tag team him, one on the front and one on the back, because he would have been taken down, is all I'm saying. Me and my friend, let me continue. In the months that followed, Catherine says she continued to correspond with Weinberg, who at one point dangled the possibility of an acting role in anger management. In one exchange soon after the shoot, she says she reached out to him to tell him that what had happened that day was totally not cool and that she wanted to watch him delete the photos of her in front of her, arranging to meet him in the lobby of her apartment. You let him know where you live? It's all crazy. She says, I saw him delete the photos. I mean, he dragged them to the trash, but who effing knows? Her doubts were justified. A few months later, in April of 2014, Weinberg emailed a batch of his photos to Jaguar Wright, a 22-year-old restaurant manager that he met at the Republic of Pie in North Hollywood. In an effort to persuade her to do a photo shoot, he sent her these pictures. Now, among the images he sent her, later obtained by THR, was a photo of Catherine with a tear sliding down her face. Dirty devil. Rake agreed to model for him as long as she could remain clothed, but during the shoot, she says Weinberg raped her. After I had said no so many times, he continued doing what he wanted anyway. I didn't know what else he was capable of, including violence. I thought there was a real possibility that I might die here. I'd have been thinking the same thing about him, that it's a possibility he might die here if he tries anything violent with me. That's what I would have been thinking. Okay? Afterward, she drove directly to Planned Parenthood. I think I was just raped, she remembers telling the receptionist. Planned Parenthood provided her with emergency contraception, and then she went to the police, who administered a rape kit. While at the trauma center, police had Rake call Weinberg in an attempt to secure cooperation. She says Weinberg cried over the phone, repeatedly mentioning his children and trying to get off the line, but not responding to her claims directly. Rake's report triggered an investigation and Weinberg's arrest. In July of 2014, an LAPD detective submitted the case to the district attorney's office with Deputy District Attorney Teresa de Castro, who declined to prosecute, citing insufficient evidence. She claimed that she did not consent. He claimed a consensual encounter. There is no corroboration of the victim's allegations, de Castro said. This is what she wrote in the evaluation report. She did not respond to a request for comment. This is all crazy. First of all, if somebody raped somebody, are they really going to admit to it? Of course not. So you're not going to have them saying the same thing. This is all ridiculous. However, Rake was summoned back to the district attorney's office in September 2024 when another woman came forward with the claims of misconduct during a photo shoot. Again, the DA's office declined to prosecute. Rake was not informed of the status of the case until nearly 2 years later, and only after she reached out to a detective on her own. In one other instance, in 2016, law enforcement recorded charges against Weinberg to the district attorney's office for an alleged non-consensual sexual encounter with an unnamed woman that took place in 2014, again during a photo shoot at his home. According to a charge evaluation worksheet, Weinberg had intercourse with her while she was lying on his bed, and she had to orally copulate him while he photographed the encounter. The deputy district attorney in the case, current Superior Court Judge David Reinhardt, noted in the charge evaluation worksheet that Weinberg had been investigated for the same conduct involving a separate victim and characterized Weinberg's conduct as inappropriate. You don't say. Still, he wrote, because there is no evidence that the defendant used force, threats, or intimidation to overcome the will of the victims, the case is declined for filing. Now, in response to questions from THR, Reiner apologized that he could not recall the specific facts of the case. This is what they do, gaslight, deflect. He did not respond to follow-up questions. I bet he didn't. Now, here's the lady right here. This is the one who went to the police and who went and took a kit and all of that and went to Planned Parenthood and all of that. This is the one right here. This is all so crazy. At the end of the day, this is making me exhausted. This man is nefarious. They don't want to talk about him. They want to talk about Diddy. Now, Azure Parsons, an actress who met Weinberg on the 2011 MTV show Death Valley, for which Weinberg was a showrunner, tells THR that Weinberg assaulted her or harassed her for the duration of the show's one-season run. Years later, as she returned home from walking her dog in 2014, she says that a car pulled up next to her and a man began complimenting her curves and saying how he would love to photograph her. She turned and recognized Eric Weinberg. I mean, the irony of it all. The irony of it all. Now, she screamed at him, "Are you effing kidding me?" A visibly angry Weinberg got out of his car, grabs my arms, and tries to pull me into the car. She escaped from him and ran, calling her manager and then the police. She says the police did not follow up with her. They didn't follow up with her. Do y'all hear this? But that cop that was just at the press conference sat there and lied through his teeth and said that the other things against him were just minuscule. Nothing serious, nothing to do with any of this. Everything to do with all of it. And not minuscule by any stretch of his imagination nor ours. Parsons was left wondering whether Weinberg looked me up and found where I lived, or if he just does this so much that he happened to approach her randomly, though she suspects it was the latter. Now, lending credence to her suspicions that it was a random repeat encounter, 5 other women who spoke with THR said that Weinberg approached them multiple times, sometimes years and sometimes just weeks apart, reintroducing himself. The women believed that Weinberg did not recognize them. In the weeks that followed, Parsons said she saw Weinberg park outside her home and then again in pretty much the same spot years later, leading her to believe at this point he was now stalking her. Parsons is not alone in accusing Weinberg of such behavior. Stephanie Nelson, who lives in Los Feliz, said in 2017, Weinberg pulled up next to her in a gray sedan as she walked home one night. She estimates that she called the police 3 times over the month as Weinberg continued to approach her around the neighborhood, one time appearing to follow her home. In one such instance, on October the 22nd of 2017, Nelson began filming Weinberg after he rode up to her on a bicycle in Echo Park. You should stop harassing me and stop walking with me and stop following me. It's effing creepy, dude. You've done this 3 times in a month. I wouldn't have had any words. If I had any words that would have been said, I wouldn't have had any words. Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson would have been singing, is all I'm saying. After the encounters, she says she stopped walking in the neighborhood for a year and a half. I would have feared for my life. Okay? And let the chopper sing, is all I'm saying. Now, after Wilson's 2020 Facebook, I mean, just imagine you're in the park, minding your own business. It's probably dark, not many people around, and this creep who's been stalking you, you don't know what he's capable of. Okay, I clearly would have feared for my life real quick. Now, after Wilson's 2020 Facebook post and the initial dizzying optimism of connecting with other alleged survivors in the hope that together the group of accusers could push law enforcement to take action, the cases again seemed to stall. Now, I just want you all to pay attention to how all of this transpired, how long this had to go on, how these people had to literally reach out on social media to find other people who've been through the same thing, form a group and try to all together fight for this man to be taken down. Did they have to do all that for Diddy? They didn't have to do any of that for Diddy. I just want y'all to pay attention. Now, it goes on to say, they discovered that Weinberg had learned of the Facebook discussions about him from a member of the group who had violated its code of silence. One woman reported to Wilson seeing Weinberg on a dating app under an alias, while another member of the original Facebook group saw him at a bar with a young woman. Though she continued to coordinate the group of accusers, Wilson left LA in 2020 for Tucson, Arizona. After the alleged assault, she lost a beloved job in art framing, and fell into a depression. Her apartment were blocks from Weinberg's house. She no longer felt safe. In her Tucson living room in September of 2020, surrounded by the cacti and the succulents that she now made a living by selling on Etsy, a Los Angeles number that she didn't recognize called her iPhone. A voice she didn't recognize asked for Claire Wilson. The woman said she was Hillary Birdwell, Weinberg's wife. I was honestly thinking that she was calling me to confront me over something and accuse me of stalking or seducing her husband, Wilson said. She says, I found your Facebook post. I want you to tell me everything that you know about my husband. Are you sure? It's a lot, Wilson says. Birdwell says yes. Wilson told her that she might want to take a seat. She proceeded to share what she and the other women had found. I wouldn't have told his wife anything. I wouldn't have told his wife anything because my thing is she might just be giving him the heads up. I don't don't trust you. And you mean to tell me you've been married to this whole predator all this time and you don't have a clue as to what he's up to? Now, that could be the case, but in most cases, it absolutely isn't. And in this case, I think she absolutely knew, because remember, she said herself that he was an sex addict, and that she withheld that information from the police upon hearing about these accusations in the first place. It was only after some of her son's friends, who were 16, came to her or came out and said that he had tried things with them. That's when she drew the line. Okay, so I wouldn't have told her anything. A lot of these women know exactly what's going on with these no good, nefarious predators that they marry. So goes on to say that Birdwell had met Weinberg around 1991 in Los Angeles at an acting class, according to interviews with Birdwell and court documents. Neither was enrolled in the class. Birdwell was visiting a friend, and Weinberg was there to get an actor's perspective. She says this is what he told her. Weinberg had left Oppenheimer and Company by then and was trying to break into television. Now, the two dated for about a decade before marrying in 2001, hinting at what would unfold over the course of their marriage. One of their wedding guests joked in his toast that Weinberg had proposed to Birdwell by throwing the engagement ring from the court-mandated 100 yards. At his best moments, Weinberg's boyishness and penchant for banter could put Birdwell at ease and keep her laughing. But she also describes a pattern of aggression and boundary pushing. He really has a way of making you feel safe until you're not. This is what his own wife said, his wife at the time. Now, court records that she filed in a custody battle describe a pattern of impulsive violence and high-risk behavior, including an instance where Weinberg punched a wall in anger, breaking the wall and his finger, and repeated instances of holding Birdwell down and yelling at her. A friend of Birdwell's called the police in response to an incident in 2001, according to those filings, and Birdwell spent the night in the hotel. Now, I want y'all to pay attention, because there's another incident, but this was minuscule to that cop. This was domestic violence. This was minuscule to that police officer. Oh, just minuscule, nothing to do with any of this. And then I just started working here in 2019. What does that have to do with anything? It doesn't matter what time you started working at the precinct, you're privy to all the information stored on the computers and all the stuff in the evidence rooms and all of that. If you're working on a case about someone who has an extensive criminal history, gaslighting. Now, in court filings, Weinberg claimed the list were from when he moved to LA and did headshot photography for income, though he also said that he began treatment at the Sexual Rehabilitation Institute that summer. In June of 2008, Birdwell filed for divorce and asked Weinberg to move out, but the split did not last long. The two had their third child, a girl, in 2009. Now, this is after she found all this stuff out, or what? No, this is prior. Okay. Now, while Weinberg maintained a separate living situation, the two remained married. He spent a portion of each week cohabitating with Birdwell and taking care of their 3 children. Now, the relative piece of this arrangement was shattered in 2014 when Birdwell received a call from a bail bondsman. Weinberg had been arrested on suspicion of rape in connection to Reiki's claims. Now, that's the young lady who went to the Planned Parenthood place. So he was arrested. Now, he repeatedly denied the allegations to Birdwell, telling her that nothing sexual had happened with Reiki. Like so, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. I'll say that again. On my mother's life, I had no sexual contact with this person. Sounds like Bill Clinton. Now, goes on to say, at the same time, though, he told investigators that the two had consensual sexual encounters, okay, according to the charge evaluation worksheet. Now, after returning from jail, he sat with Birdwell in their guest room, speculating about what would look better to a jury, a female or male lawyer. That's what he wanted to know. I mean, just plotting the whole thing out nefariously. This is what Birdwell recalled. Now, he went with the former, retaining one-time Harvey Weinstein attorney Blair Burke. He also paid for the services of a forensic computer company following the arrest, according to credit card records. That's the last time he spent the night at the house, Birdwell says. In October of 2015, she filed for divorce again. But when faced with accusing him of sex addiction in public for the record, she decided not to pursue, worried about the possible impact the claim would have on their children, she says. Instead, she opted for a kind of permanent separation. No, it wasn't about her children. She already knew about those allegations. Okay, that's what that was. But increasingly alarming accusations against her husband will continue to surface. In 2017, Birdwell received a phone call from the mother of a 17-year-old girl who had met Weinberg online. The mother, who spoke to THR on the condition of anonymity, told Birdwell that Weinberg had invited her daughter over to his home for breakfast, okay, and then pulled her onto the couch and tried to unzip her sweater. She learned of the encounter after seeing an inordinate number of calls from an unknown number, Weinberg's, to her daughter's phone records. She called the number and demanded that he tell her how the F you know my daughter. Weinberg acknowledged in custody filings that I had breakfast with a girl that I met on a dating app who lied about her age to me but denied doing anything illegal or inappropriate. The mother expresses skepticism that Weinberg would not have known that her daughter was a minor. She looked like a little girl. The final straw for Birdwell, the incident that led her to Wilson's Facebook post, came in June of 2019. Weinberg approached a 16-year-old girl at a Starbucks a block from his son's high school and asked to take photos of her, according to divorce filings and interviews with Weinberg's eldest son and the girl who spoke on the condition of anonymity. Now, the Starbucks was a regular haunt for the girls and her classmates, she says. As she had done countless times before, she says that she sat at a table to work on chemistry homework, wearing her JanSport backpack with accompanying stuffed animal, fluffy keychain, sitting in front of a laptop covered in stickers from her favorite TV shows like the animated children's show Adventure Time. It's so hard for me to just emphasize how clear it was that I was a high school student, she says. I was 16 and had these skinny, almost prepubescent long legs. Weinberg pulled up a chair, she says, complimenting her on her athletic physique, on the length and amazing bone structure, before asking if she had ever modeled. She said no, and that she had no interest in doing so. Nonetheless, she estimates that Weinberg spent a solid 2 minutes going on about my body and my face and how they would photograph so beautifully. Take no for an answer, freak. You strike me as someone who would be very comfortable with their body, she recalls him saying. He pulls out his camera roll and he proceeds to show me photos of many naked women. She was visibly nervous. She says that when Weinberg placed his hand on the small of her back and told her not to worry and that he was a family man, okay, as he had done with many women before, he showed her a photo of his children. The girl recognized his oldest son. He sat next to her in 9th period. She said nothing about the mutual connection to Weinberg. Feeling trapped, she gave Weinberg her number before pretending that a call from her boyfriend was a call from her father. She fled to a corner of a nearby residential neighborhood and just cried. Later, according to a screenshot obtained by THR, Weinberg texted her, "Let's shoot sometime. It'll actually be fun and the photos will be beautiful." Word of the encounter soon reached Weinberg's son through a mutual friend. He then told his mom. Birdwell and her son confronted Weinberg about the incident, though he initially denied the encounter ever took place, even swearing on his daughter's life. They say that he would later claim in family court that he had only had a brief, barely 2-minute conversation in Starbucks with his son's classmate whose age he didn't know. He denied engaging in any untoward illegal conduct. Even as Weinberg denied the allegations, he agreed to spend 2 weeks at an intensive residential sex addiction rehabilitation program in Palm Desert, California. But when he returned and took his children out for dinner, Weinberg appeared to hit on a server. this is what their eldest son told Birdwell, the mom. Birdwell hired a new attorney and filed for divorce February of 2020. And in September, she went onto Google and typed in the search terms Eric Weinberg sexual assault. This brought up a public Facebook post that Wilson had made in August of 2020, which with her claims about her date with Weinberg. Through Wilson, Birdwell learned that Weinberg had lied about not having relations with Rake, a disclosure that she says severed the last of her trust in Weinberg's assurances about his behavior. After Birdwell made contact, Wilson, Anderson, and Rake all agreed to file sworn statements describing their claims of assault. They worried about the safety of his daughter. So in addressing the rape allegations, Weinberg declared in court documents that he exercised poor judgment. How many times have we heard this when people get caught up in their BS? Oh, it was poor judgment on my behalf. I made a mistake. Please sit down. Okay. And did not make the best decisions in the past with regard to third parties. Elsewhere, he claimed to have taken full responsibility for some lapses in judgment over the years. Weinberg detailed extensive therapy, including the 2 stints at sex addiction clinics, and noted in a July 2020 declaration that he was at the time at that very time running an sex and love addicts anonymous meeting. This is all crazy. Okay, I'm going to stop right here because this goes on and on. It's a whole bunch about him. But you get the gist of it. Miss Cookie said during the pandemic. Exactly. Okay, Lana said expose all demons. All right, Jeremiah said, why is CNN not talk about Weinberg, his nefarious behavior? Shaking my head. Exactly. And where's TMZ? TMZ loves to come out and, break these stories, don't they? They have all the receipts. They have police connections, allegedly. They get all firsthand information. Where's their story? Okay, Harvey Levin, are you listening? I have questions. This is all nefarious. Okay, Byron said, I guess that we're getting a twofer alive and soon to be wake up call. Byron, oh my God, it's after midnight. I've got to get out of here. Byron said we're getting a 2 for 1. Oh my goodness. Damn if a lot of stuff's been happening during the month of February, okay? Y'all are crazy. Okay, I'm so out of here. This live has been 2.5 hours. You mean to tell me it's midnight? Y'all got me messed up. Okay. Byron said because they're Harvey's people, Queen. Exactly. Reggie said I'm dozing off too. I don't want to sit up and start yawning. Okay, we the people said the only time I've ever heard of Weinberg is from you, Queen. Thank you, beloved. And you see, that's the problem. That's the problem. They even have Piers Morgan over there in the UK doing interviews about Diddy with Roger Bonds. You even had Donald Trump Jr. talking to DJ Academics. Since when is he going DJ Academics' show? He's sitting there talking about Diddy. The nerd. But y'all don't have anything to say about this man, and I know that they've heard of him. Trust me, I know they have. Okay? So I find it all interesting. Cut the bullshit. Women said, Queen been working late night 2 days in a row. That's right, beloved, okay? Leon said, first time hearing of this. It's a darn shame. All right, so with that all been said, listen, I hope you all enjoy the broadcast. Everyone, please like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, I hope you all enjoy your day tomorrow. Enjoy your strong end, not the weekend, leaving you in a weakened state of mind. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got